Lieutenant Dan Choi and his friend Captain Jen Petrangelo and Robin Mcgehee decided that they were done waiting and they were done listening to empty promises about Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And they encouraged about 100 people to march with them away from a rally, actually, with the Human Rights Campaign and Kathy Griffin. They left this rally because the rally, it was a sham. That rally was cover for people who were trying to make the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell disappear off of the radar right now. So they took about 100 people from that and they marched right up to the White House. Who already knows about this? All right. They marched right up to the White House, and Lieutenant Dan Choi, who's an incredible speaker, gives a speech, and then he and Captain Jen Petrangelo go right up to the fence at the White House, and Robin Mcgehee comes up with a couple of pairs of handcuffs, and she handcuffs Jen Petrangelo and Lieutenant Dan Choi to the fence at the White House. They're saying, we're here, we want to serve, and we're not leaving until we have the right to serve openly as gay men or as lesbians. Or there's a whole complicated issue that actually Don't Ask, Don't Tell doesn't address trans folks or gender identity at all. The three of them were all arrested. And right after that took place, after Dan Choi and Jen Petrangelo and Robin Mcgehee were arrested at the White House, two groups, one in San Francisco and one in Washington, D.C. Who here knows who Nancy Pelosi is? Most people. So Nancy Pelosi, she's a representative in the House of Representatives in this country, and she is the Speaker of the House, which means that she's kind of the most important person in the House of Representatives. She has a lot of power there. And it's kind of an ironic twist of fate that she also happens to be my representative in San Francisco. That San Francisco, liberal San Francisco, our representative also happens to be the Speaker of the House at the moment. But I don't think that we've seen any San Francisco values from Nancy Pelosi, because last year I saw the banks get bailed out, and I saw all of us sitting in this room get sold out to the banks through a sham of trying to address the financial crisis. Right now, what's about to happen next week, we're about to see all of us get sold out to the pharmaceutical industry. They're going to call it healthcare reform. They've decided, come hell or high water, no matter what this bill says, we're going to call it reform. There's no reform in this bill. And we're all being sold out to the pharmaceutical industry. And but we've seen all along through that process, we've seen Speaker Pelosi twist arms, play the political game, and push to get bills that she wanted passed to get passed. I haven't seen her twist one arm or make one mention of employment protections for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people. Not one mention of it. So after having met with her office, 3 times now, and having met with George Miller's office, who is the representative, who's the chair of the committee where this bill is jammed up, we moved into Nancy Pelosi's office last Thursday, and we called out her district liaison, and we said, you know what? We've been here for a number of conversations with you. You've given us no answers. You've given us no movement. Everybody that we talk to gives us a different message. So we're not here to talk to you today. We're here because we have a demand. We demand that the Employment Non-Discrimination Act come to the floor of the House for a vote before the end of this month. If you can commit to us that the Employment Non-Discrimination Act will come to the floor of the House for a vote before the end of the month, then we will peacefully leave from this office. But if you don't make that commitment, we're not leaving, and we are prepared to be arrested for it. The same thing was happening in Washington, D.C. at the exact same time. And we got no promises, we got no leadership. And so right after Robin Mcgehee, Jen Petrangelo, and Dan Choi were arrested at the White House, a group of 6 of us in San Francisco and a group of 4 in Washington, D.C. were arrested inside of Nancy Pelosi's office for demanding that the Employment Non-Discrimination Act come to the floor for a vote. Don't clap yet. We'll get there. So let's have some real talk, and I know that my time's winding up, and I'm aware of that. I want to have a little bit of real talk. Who in here is like, okay, that sounds kind of cool, but why would you really do that? Does it really accomplish anything? You know, are there better tactics to use? Is anybody kind of feeling that way? Badass. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I don't have to prove anything. We have, since this action, gotten a call from the White House, And on Monday, one of the folks that we're working with will be going in for a meeting with the highest ranking LGBT person in the administration, who is a direct advisor to President Obama. And in that meeting, he will be saying, this is a little wonky, it's a little political. The repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, we want it in the defense authorization bill, because if it's in that bill, it's going to pass. But instead, because they have to pass the defense authorization bill, that's like the budget for the military. So Congress has to pass that bill. Instead, they put it as a standalone bill. They said, well, we're going to treat it separately. We're going to have a bill that's just about repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell. What that means is that they're not committed to repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell, because that bill will not pass on its own. It will pass if it's part of the defense authorization bill. So while President Obama is saying out of one side of his mouth that I'm going to work with Congress to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell, out of the other side of his mouth, he and other folks in the administration and in Congress are actively working against us and trying to pull the wool over our eyes. But on Monday, we will be going in for a meeting with the highest ranking LGBT person in the administration, who is a direct advisor to President Obama, saying, put Don't Ask, Don't Tell repeal back in the defense authorization bill, or we're coming back and we're bringing more people who are going to get chained in defense of the White House. And we will keep doing that over and over every day as long as it takes until we get Don't Ask, Don't Tell repealed. Then, as of last night, we now have two representatives, one who's a lesbian, one who's a gay man, Tammy Baldwin and Barney Frank, who arguably have not really been advocates for our community or shown real leadership on these issues. But since this action took place, as of last night, Representative Tammy Baldwin is now publicly saying, I believe that we have enough votes to pass the Employment Non-Discrimination Act in the House. They weren't saying that before 2 days ago. They're saying that now. And the other thing that Barney Frank is saying is that Nancy Pelosi is the one who's keeping it from hitting the floor. So now we finally have some real leadership from our out representatives in Congress who are saying Nancy Pelosi is blocking the way, we have the votes that are there, and it's time to move this through Congress. So it's an unfinished story. That's where we're at, but we're starting to see real results from the work that we've done this week. And I want to encourage folks to